Dude, this is a topic that has been discussed ad nauseum. Well, I think over the course of the last few years. But at the same time, it's like we got to understand like where these things came from in American politics and why the rise of Trump happened and why that actually came into occurrence. It's like the Republican Party was, when it was George Bush's party, it was a corporate party. The deep state, the corporate interests, the oligarchs, the American oligarchs were 100% controlled by, or they were in control of that wing of the Republican Party. And then what happened, you started to see around 2000, in kind of in response to Obama becoming president, you started to see working class people. It wasn't necessarily a revolt against that administration. It was more a revolt against that type of political instantiation. And so like you can understand in that vacuum is why Trump came into existence. It's because he offered working class people something that actually spoke to them when nobody else was doing it. Now on the left wing, now on the left side, you had Bernie Sanders, who was doing the same thing. So you had Trump and Bernie Sanders around 2016. Before that, we had about 30, 40 years in American political corporate life of corporations owning everything that happened economically in America. The economic engines were turned off and on by corporations. They offshored the factories, industry left the country. They hollowed out the Midwest. They hollowed out the blue collar people of this country. And you saw the results. They were left in a vacuum. By the time 2008 came around, the economic crash of 2008 came around, everybody was already teetering on a socio-political edge where they were just about fucking at a breaking point with everything that had gone on in the last 30 years, watching their jobs leave the country, watching their dollars leave their bank account, and being left in this place where now nobody's going to bat for them. Now people want to turn that around and say that energy, that animus was actually because people were against Obama because he was black. It's like that. You know what? There might have been some of that, but people use that as an excuse to ignore the fact that these people, that a lot of the people of this country were just sick and tired. By the time that happened, they were sick and tired of what they saw going on with the American culture, the American political landscape becoming essentially a corporate entity. And this is what I've been saying, right? The republic is no longer constituted on the will of the people. The republic is constituted on the will of the corporate state. And we have lost control. We have lost any semblance of influence. We have no power. Power is influence. Influence is power. So when you have no more influence, you have no more power, and people are going to act in whatever way. So it's like when someone like Trump comes along, whatever you think about Trump, I'm not a fan of Trump. But what he offers to the people in this country who are disaffected and feel like they have lost any sense of influence on what happens in this country, that's what he represents. He doesn't represent racism. He doesn't represent. Now there might be some people who are of that mind who are attracted to him for whatever reason. He does say some shit that seems to be somewhat racist. It's like he's not the greatest guy. He's kind of an asshole. He's a kind of a jerk. He's mean to people. He's rude. He doesn't really give a fuck. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because he goes to bat for the working class. And that is why they fucking love him. And and here was the problem. Here was the moment in America where this all turned, is when Bernie Sanders came. Bernie Sanders was the same thing, but for the Democrat, for the leftist. He was the same fucking thing. Everyone in the country felt that we were being hollowed out by the corporations, that they're taking away our fucking country. They're taking away our fucking control. Bernie Sanders offered the same type of thing, but from a leftist perspective. and they fucking cut him off at the knees. This is the thing that the Republican Party that was kind of genius from them for their point of view that the Democrats fucking failed to do is that they actually, when they saw what Trump was affecting in people, what he was bringing about in people, the emotional response that people were having to him, they were like, all right, we got to go along with this. Now, that's not to say there was a lot of people in the Republican Party at the time that were not they were not Trump fans at all. They were like, what the fuck is going on here? Because you got to remember, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on in American politics. These people are all corporate captured. They are captured by the corporation. They are puppets. They are puppets of the elites. People are pulling the strings behind the scenes. And so they don't have much agency. They are really just kind of going along to who their fucking owners are telling them to do. But when a lot of them, when they saw what was going on with Trump, they said, we're going to get behind it. And they did that. Now, the Democratic Party, they went ahead and they cut Bernie off at the knees, and they decided to run Hillary Clinton, who is she is the exemplary. She is the greatest example of this corporate bullshit that we see going on in the country that has ever existed. She is the archetypal globalist corporate interest bullshit puppet politician that we've seen over the last 30, 40 years. And they decided to keep running that bullshit. And Biden is the same thing, of course. I mean, the problem with Trump is that he doesn't have widespread appeal. He's a turnoff. He's such a fucking asshole that people that don't like assholes they don't fuck with him because he's such a douche. He's not a good guy. Like, people see him being a jerk. We don't want a jerk as president. But the people who love him, they say, we don't care if he's a jerk because he goes to bat for us. So it doesn't matter. And this is what happened, is that the Democrats, since 2016, it's been 8 years. It's been 8 or 9 years. They've been sitting here going by the same playbook, trying to beat Trump with the same fucking crony bullshit. It's never going to fucking happen. They're going to lose again. And it's all their fault because they're too stupid to realize that the people of this country are no longer interested in being controlled by corporate interests. We're tired of it. We don't give a fuck what it is. If it's Trump, if it's fucking Bernie Sanders, nobody gives a fuck anymore. We're done. And that's what this is. And it's just hilarious to see how it's been almost a decade and they haven't woken up to the fact that you're not going to beat this by running the same plays. They've gotten to the point where now that they're so desperate they tried to kill him. They're so desperate they tried to fucking assassinate him. That's the point that they're at. But it's so funny because it's like people, like, in this lifetime, people make decisions, man, and there's consequences. There's always a consequence to the decisions that you make in life. And this is what happens if you spend 10 years ignoring the biggest problem that's ever been facing. Whatever happens, man, I'm not excited for what's coming. I don't think it's good. I don't think another Trump presidency is good. I don't think he's good for the country. I think he might turn off the war in Ukraine. That's good. But he's not going to bring people together. No fucking way. He can't do that. He doesn't have those skills. He's not a leader like that. He is a fucking authoritarian. Dude, he might try to just keep the presidency. I can see that shit happening. I can see him saying, hey, fuck this. I'm going to be president now forever. I can see that. But it's like, this is what we get. This is what we get when that was the only thing offered to the people of this country that actually fucking spoke to them. He actually spoke to the people in this fucking country, and no one had done that since the fucking 80s. Except for Bernie. And that's the biggest problem is Bernie. I think Bernie could have beaten Trump. I think he would have beaten Trump. But that was the point is when the Democrats decided to cut off Bernie at the knees. They decided that they're going to deal with Trump now for 12 years. And he will win again. If he's running against Biden, he will win again. I don't think they can put anyone in there that will stop him from fucking winning now. Truly, the black vote is behind Trump. Dude, black people are now supporting Trump supporters. Latinos are Trump supporters. These are fucking, the Democratic Party is fucking done. They're done. They do not have a fucking hope. And that's not good. But it's like, dude, it doesn't mean Trump's a good guy. People who want to say that he's a fucking, dude, he's the same thing he always fucking was. I don't know. And I bet he's probably changed over maybe he actually does fucking feel like he speaks to the people. This JD Vance guy is actually a fucking blue collar guy. He actually does speak to these, to the blue collar people, blue collar folk. And it's like, dude, they just got fucking forgotten. The greatest mistake the Democratic Party ever had. But it's like, you got to understand, this isn't, they're not even it's not even the Democratic Party. It's just the corporate state. They've taken over. And that's like, that's why the January 6th shit is like, dude, it was an attempted coup, I guess, in a sense, but it was the most clownish bullshit thing you've ever seen. These people showed up, it was like a costume party. And people are acting like it's some sort of fucking a military coup. These are fucking idiots. Who would go there and do that shit? But people are acting like it's the fucking end of the society. Like, so I don't know, man. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to watch it all happen. I can't believe they tried to fucking kill him. I can't believe they got so desperate. But it's all because of the fact that they tried to fucked Bernie. None of this would have happened if they would have actually let Bernie get in there, but they won't give up power easily, man. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. A part of me is almost glad that Trump, that he's going to be in there again, to be honest. A part of me is almost glad because it's like, it just fucks everything up for them. But he's just not a good guy, man. He is a fucking prick. He's a fucking prick. You don't want to have a douchebag as president. Trump is a douche. He just thinks about himself. He's just an asshole. But people love him, man. People love him. I don't really understand the love, but I do at a fucking level because it's like, I don't know. It's just crazy, dude. It's a lot of bullshit. And you wish that you grow up, you're told that this fucking country is actually a democracy. You're told that you're going to have the ability to influence things with voting and all this shit. It's all fake. It's been fake since the 80s. And that's what we didn't realize that until Trump came along. I mean, that is the truth. It's the weird truth is that he actually exposed all this shit to a level. Even though he's such a fucking douchebag and everyone. It's just like, you want to have a moral president. You want to have a moral person, someone who actually has values in office. And we're not going to get them, no matter what.